In today's lecture, we will study about calorimetry, as it is a very important topic from point of view of both IIT JEE as well as NEET. So, what do you mean by calorimetry? The word calorie means heat and metry means measurement. So, calorimetry is simply the study of measurement of heat transfer during physical or chemical processes. And this measurement is done with the help of a device which is known as calorimeter. We will study about calorimeter in details later. Now the term heat, as we all know that heat is a form of energy. And if we'll talk about the unit of heat, then its SI unit is joule. We use the symbol capital J. And the Celsius unit of heat is calorie. We use the symbol small cal. Sometimes people get confused that the Celsius unit of heat is erg, which is wrong. Erg is the Celsius unit of energy and not heat. And the relation between joule and calorie is 1 calorie is equal to 4.18 joule. Now we will see the definition of calorie. So 1 calorie is the amount of heat energy required to increase the temperature of 1 gram of clean water by 1 degree Celsius. If we study any standard book, then they take this 1 degree temperature from 14.5 degrees Celsius to 15.5 degrees Celsius. So now we will try to understand this definition. Suppose we have 1 gram of water. And if we want to increase the temperature of this 1 gram of water from 14.5 degrees Celsius to 15.5 degrees Celsius, so the amount of heat which is required will be equal to 4.18 joule. 4.18 joule. And this is equal to 1 calorie. This is a simple definition. We have to remember this definition. Now the second point that we will remember here, that when heat is given to a system, then its temperature increases. From initial to final, its temperature increases. This process is called endothermic process. And when heat is taken from a system, then its temperature decreases. And it is called exothermic process. But during phase change processes, phase change means when solid gets converted into liquid or liquid gets converted into gas. So during phase change processes, temperature does not change. We will study about this in detail later during latent heat topic. Now we will see some calorimetry terms. The term number 1 will see specific heat capacity. The symbol we use is small c or small s. So how we define it? First, try to understand it. Suppose we have a mass and we are either giving heat or taking heat. So what will happen? Its temperature will change. In first case, temperature will increase. Final temperature will be more than initial temperature. And in second case, final temperature will be less than initial temperature. So the amount of heat given or taken is proportional to mass of the body. And second thing is, the amount of heat given or taken is proportional to delta T. Delta T means final temperature minus initial temperature. So from equation number 1 and 2, Q is proportional to M into delta T. And when we will remove this proportionality sign, a constant will come, and this constant is small c. And this small c is known as specific heat capacity. So again we will rearrange this equation and we will write Q equal to, that is heat given or taken, is equal to mass into specific heat into delta T. Or from here we can write that C is equal to Q divided by M into delta T. Now we are going to define the term specific heat capacity, that is small c. Now take the mass 1 gram and take the temperature change 1 degree Celsius or 1 Kelvin. One thing remember here, that change in temperature in degree Celsius is equal to change in temperature in Kelvin. I am talking about change. Change is same. Either we will take change in degree Celsius or take the change in Kelvin. So put M1 and delta T1, so C equal to Q. So what we get from here? So how will define C? It is the amount of heat. C equal to Q, and Q is what? Heat. So it is the amount of heat given or taken to raise or fall, or we can say that it is the amount of heat energy required or released to increase or decrease the temperature of a unit mass. Unit mass means 1 gram or 1 kg of a substance by 1 degree Celsius or 1 Kelvin. Now the specific heat of water is 4.2 joule per gram per degree Celsius, or 1 calorie per gram per degree Celsius, and specific heat of ice is 2.1 joule per gram per Kelvin, or 0.5 Kelvin per degree Celsius. Do not confuse with the unit of C. Now we'll see the unit of C. C equal to Q by M into delta T. And what is Q? Q we measure in joule. So joule per gram per degree Celsius, or multiply numerator and denominator by 1000. So it will become kilojoule, and here it will become kilogram. So other unit can be kilojoule per kg per degree Celsius. If we measure heat in calorie, then the unit will become calorie per gram per degree Celsius. And again, if we multiply numerator and denominator by 1000, so it will become kilocalorie per kg per degree Celsius. Listen very carefully. Again, I told earlier that change in temperature delta T in degree Celsius is equal to Kelvin. So in any of the four, in place of degree Celsius, we can write Kelvin. Joule per gram per Kelvin, or kilojoule per kg per Kelvin, or calorie per gram per Kelvin, or kilocalorie per kg per Kelvin. So in all of the four, in place of degree Celsius, Kelvin can come. So do not get confused here. Now the second dimensional formula of specific heat capacity. So if you put the dimension of heat, so put all the dimensional formula here. So Q will become ML2T minus 2, that is the dimension of work, by mass. Mass we measure in M, and delta T we use the theta. So it will come out L2T minus 2 into theta. So dimensional formula of C will be L2T minus 2 into theta. This is the dimensional formula of specific heat capacity. Remember these values, that the specific heat capacity of steam is 0.47 calorie per gram per degree Celsius, and specific heat of copper is 0.4 joule per gram per degree Celsius. Now see the comparison here. What is the specific heat of water? C of water is 4.2 joule per gram per degree Celsius, and specific heat of copper is, as I discussed earlier, 0.4 joule per gram per degree Celsius. Now we are going to see why they are different and what is its physical significance. So for water, if we'll take 1 gram of water, and to change the temperature by 1 degree Celsius, we need to give a heat of 4.2 joule. And for the same 1 gram of copper, and to increase the temperature by 1 degree Celsius, we need to supply a heat of 0.4 joule only. So here you can see that for the same mass of water and copper, the heat given to water is 4.2 joule, whereas for copper it is only 0.4 joule, which is very low as compared to water. So what it means? So for some materials or for some substance, specific heat can be high, and for other it is low. So if a material or substance is having high specific heat, it means that those substances do not heat or cool easily. For example, water. And for a substance, if specific heat is low, it means that those substance can be heat or cool rapidly. Example, copper. So if C is high, so those substance will be a good absorber of heat, and those substance for which specific heat capacity value is low, they are good conductor. So remember these points. Now see some notes, very important. Note number 1, C, that is specific heat is property of material of substance. So for different material, as we saw earlier, that for water and for copper specific heat is different. So it is a property of material. Now point number 2, specific heat is a function of temperature. Means with a change in temperature of a body, its specific heat also gets changed. But if nothing mentioned, then we will take it as constant, because the variation of C, that is variation in specific heat, is very small with change in temperature. Now see the next point, that is point number 3, that is Q equal to, as we learned earlier, Q equal to MC delta T, heat released or heat given or heat taken. We will apply this formula when temperature change is given large, and if temperature change is given small, then we will apply the differential form, that is dq equal to mc into dt. Now let's see, as I told earlier, dq equal to mc into delta t, and if C is not a function of temperature, then total heat given or taken to the system will be the integration of the differential form, that is dq. Now in place of dq we will put mc into delta t, and we are integrating it from T initial to T final. So whatever is constant will be come outside. So mass is constant as well as specific heat is constant, since this specific heat is not a function of temperature. So M into C will come outside, and if we will put if we will integrate this, it will become T, and then we will put upper limit and lower limit. The final result will come out MC into TF minus TI, which is equal to MC into delta T, as we already saw earlier. And if C is a function of temperature, so in this case, to find total heat, again we will integrate the small heat, that is differential dq, and if we will integrate this, so and dq, now put dq from here, mc into delta t. Now since only mass is constant here, since C is a function of temperature, so only mass will come outside the integration. Whatever C will be given in terms of temperature, we will substitute here, and then we will integrate to find the total heat given or taken from the system. C equal to capital Q by M into delta T, and in differential form, C equal to dq by M into delta T. And what is dq by dt? dq by dt is the slope of Q versus T curve. As we know that dy by dx is what? dy by dx is slope of tangent at yx curve. So in this case, slope of Q versus T curve, slope of tangent at Q versus T curve, and divided by mass. So dq by dt is slope divided by mass. Now see in detail what we learn. Suppose it is given, see the two situation. In situation number 1, Q versus T graph, there is a straight line passing through the origin. So in this case, if we will draw a tangent at point A or at point P, the tangent will be same as the straight line. And what will be the slope of tangent at point A and B? The slope will be tan of this angle. So slope at point A will be equal to slope at point B, and that will be equal to tan of theta. So what is specific heat? Specific heat is slope divided by M, as we learned earlier. So slope is constant. Slope constant means C slope by M is constant. It means that specific heat is constant. It means that specific heat is not a function of temperature. So remember this graph. If specific heat is not a function of temperature, it means that the curve between heat versus temperature graph will be a straight line passing through the origin. And see in the situation number 2, it is the graph given, Q versus T graph. And here we can see that if we want to find slope at point A, so draw a tangent here. So this is our theta A, and draw a tangent at point B. So this is the tangent at point B and this is theta B. So slope at A equal to tan of this angle and slope at point B equal to tan of theta B. So again apply the formula of specific heat. So specific heat equal to slope by m. So here we can see that theta A is not equal to theta B. So specific heat is not constant in case number 2 or situation number 2. So in case number 2, specific heat is a function of temperature. So remember it, if specific heat is a function of temperature, then the graph will not be a straight line. Clear? Now see the next point. So specific heat is defined for all the 3 states of matter. It can be solid, liquid and gas. For gas, specific heat capacity is a function of process. As we know that it can be Cp, specific heat at constant pressure, specific heat at constant volume. For different process, specific heat is different. And this part we will learn in thermodynamics. Now see a new topic, that is heat capacity. Other name of heat capacity is also known as thermal capacity. And the symbol used for this is capital C or capital S. Earlier we used the symbol small c and small s for specific heat capacity. Okay, do not get confused here. And how we define it? We define it as it is the amount of heat energy required or released to increase or decrease the temperature of a substance by 1 degree Celsius or 1 Kelvin. So what is the difference between specific heat capacity and heat capacity? In specific heat capacity, the mass is 1 gram, but here mass can be anything. So what is specific heat, what is heat capacity? Heat divided by delta T. And what is heat given or taken? Mc into delta T. So delta T cancel out. So C equal to M into small c. So heat capacity is equal to mass into specific heat capacity. Now we are going to see some numericals. So make the thing more clear. As in question number 1, what is the amount of heat in kilojoule is required to raise the temperature of 2 kg of water by? As we know that heat given or taken from a system is equal to mc into delta T. And here mass given is 2 kg. 2 kg. And what is specific heat of water? So 4.2 into delta T. What is delta T here? Delta T is by 5 degrees Celsius. Means this is our delta T into 5. And if we will simplify this, so this will become 4.2 or 4.18. So this is equal to, take 4.18 here. So 4.18. So if we will simplify this, it will become 41.8 kilojoule. Now see the second question. In the second question, they are asking find the amount of heat required to raise the temperature of 5 gram of ice from minus 10 degrees Celsius to 0 degrees Celsius. So let's solve. As we know that Q equal to mc into delta T. And what is the mass of ice given? Mass of ice given is 5 gram. And specific heat capacity of ice is 2.1. And what is delta T here? Delta T is 0 minus 10. So if we will simplify this, it will become 105 joule. So this is the answer for question number 2. Now let's see the next question. A heater gives heat at a rate of 100 watt. It is used to heat 20 gram of water from 20 degrees Celsius to 50 degrees Celsius. Find the time taken to do so. So by energy conservation, we can say that whatever heat given by the heater will be equal to heat taken or absorbed by water. This we can write from energy conservation. Now what is the heat given by the heater? that is power into time. Power into time, and power is given 100. So 100 into T is equal to heat taken by the water is what? Mc into delta T. And what is mass? 20. And specific heat of water is 4.18. And what is delta T here? 50 minus 20 degree. If we will simplify this, time will come out 25.2 seconds. So this is the answer for the question number 3. Now let's see question number 4. How much heat energy is gained when 5 kg of water at 20 degrees Celsius is about to its boiling point? And we know that the boiling point of water is 100 degrees Celsius. So as we know that heat given or taken from a system is Q equal to mc into delta T. And what is the mass given here? Mass given is 5. And we know that specific heat of water is 4.18 kilojoule per kg per degree Celsius. So what is C? 4.18. And what is delta T? Delta T is 100 minus 20. And when we will simplify this, it will come out 1672 kilojoule. Now see the question number 5. The specific heat capacity of a material is given as C equal to 2T joule per gram per degree Celsius. So here we can see that specific heat is a function of temperature, which is not constant. So determine the heat absorbed by 1 kg of this material from 2 degrees Celsius to 5 degrees Celsius. As we discussed earlier, when the specific heat is not constant, to find heat we apply this formula, m integration of C dt T initial to T final. Now substitute everything here. What is the mass given? 1 kg. And what is the specific heat given? 2 into T dt. What is initial temperature? 2 degrees Celsius. And what is final temperature? 5 degrees Celsius. So now 2 is constant, 2 will come outside. So T dt 2 to 5. Now integrate this. So what is the integration of T? T will become T square by 2. So 2 to 5. Now this 2 will cancel out. So now substitute upper limit and then lower limit. So this will become 21 joule. Now let's see the last question. A refrigerator extracts energy at rate of 100 watt. How long time will it take to cool a body 10 kg from 30 degrees Celsius to 10 degrees Celsius? And the specific heat capacity of that body is given as 1.3 joule per gram per degree Celsius. So let's see how we'll solve this question. Whatever heat will be given by the body, that heat will be taken by the refrigerator. So from conservation of energy, we can write that heat given by the body will be equal to heat taken by the refrigerator. So heat given by the body will be what? mc into delta T. And heat taken by the refrigerator, that is energy equal to power into time. So power into time. Now substitute everything here. What is the mass given? 10 kg. And the specific heat given is 1.3. Delta T is 30 minus 10. This is equal to power into time. Power is given 100 and time, this we have to calculate. If we will simplify this, then T will come out 2600 seconds. Now let's see the question number 7. The specific heat capacity of a material varies as C equal to 100 plus 2T, where temperature is given in degree Celsius. Determine heat accepted by 1 kg of this material from 0 degrees Celsius to 100 degrees Celsius. Here we can see that specific heat is a function of temperature. So to find the heat given or taken, we know that the formula that we apply is Q equal to mc. C will be taken inside the bracket into dt, and we integrate this from initial temperature to final temperature. Mass is given 1 kg and C is given 100 plus 2T dt. And what is initial temperature? 0 degrees Celsius, and final temperature is given as 100 degrees Celsius. Now we just need to integrate this to get the final desired result. So just use the integration method. So 100 dt will become 100 into T, and 2T, so it will become T square by 2 from 0 to 100. 2 will cancel out. Now put the upper limit and then lower limit. So it will become 100 into 100 plus 100 square. Now put lower limit. So in place of T put 0. So it will become 0 plus 0. And if we will simplify this, it will come out 2 into 10 to the power 4 joule or 20 kilojoule. Now let's see question number 8. Find the thermal capacity of 40 gram of aluminum can if specific heat of aluminum is 0.2 calorie per gram per degree Celsius. So as we know that thermal capacity, what is the other name of thermal capacity? Heat capacity, that is capital C. So heat capacity or thermal capacity, as we know, that is equal to specific mass into specific heat. Now what is mass given here? Mass is given 40 gram and small c, that is specific heat, is given 0.2. So this will become 8 calorie per degree Celsius. So as I discussed earlier with you the topic heat capacity, so one thing mentioned here that unit of C will be what, guys? Unit of C will be joule per degree Celsius, or if we measure in calorie, it will become calorie per degree Celsius, or in place of degree Celsius we can also take Kelvin. Clear? Now let's see the question number 9. When 50 joule of heat is added to 10 gram of sample of a material, its temperature rises from 5 degree to 10 degree Celsius. Calculate its specific heat capacity and thermal capacity. So in this question we have to find small c as well as capital C. As we know that heat given or taken from a system is equal to mc into delta T, and in this case Q is given 50. So 50 equal to mass equal to 10 small c into delta T. What is delta T here? 10 minus 5. So simplify this. If we will simplify this, so the small c will become 5 joule per gram per degree Celsius. Now what is capital C? That is thermal capacity, capital C, equal to mass into small c, that is specific heat capacity. Now substitute the value 10 into 5. So this will become 50 joule per degree Celsius.